Welcome to the Real McCoy Show, where we bring on top industry leaders and discuss what makes them the Real McCoy. Now, your host, Steven McCoy.
All right, welcome to the Real McCoy Show. This is Steven McCoy. I'm a licensed real estate agent here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Been in real estate for over 15 years. I have my partner, Brian Phillips, who's with Supreme Lending. He's our preferred lender, and he has been in the business over 19 years. Guys, what we're facing today, Brian and I have never seen in our whole career of real estate. However, there's some things that we know that can really help you and your family protect your investment, as well as if you're looking to leverage that investment to refinance, pull out some cash, or you're actually bound up in your home and you're thinking, my goodness, this 2.5 bathrooms is not going to work for 7 people, right? So we weren't expecting kids to come back from college and all these people to be in our house and to have to build a gym in our garage to work out because we can't go to the local fitness facility. Well, it's real. It's happening. And today we're going to cover some topics to put your focus on the future, not our current situation. And, basically, I wanted to cover what the Real McCoy Show is about and why you should tune in every Friday. Brian and I are going to be teaming in and out of this deal to bring you guys items of value. Because why should you listen to us? Well, I flipped over 100 homes. I personally bought, fixed, and flipped them with our own money. I've lost money, made as much as 100, lost as much as 80,000. Was the 80,000 more impactful? You bet your rear end it was. So I remember that day by day. I mean, we were bleeding money. But through that time, my wife and I put together a plan of action to rebound from that. And, we went on to flip, 98 homes that made money. So we learned from our mistakes. During the market crash of 2008, I went through the real estate business, started, working with investors, saw the options on how to flip, and that's what got us here today. And last year, we had our best business ever in real estate, 89 homes, 89 buy/seller sides, and, we're bringing you real value from being in today's market. And that's what the show was about, and then this COVID-19 hit and Brian and I are like, oh man, what are we going to do? And we just look back to our past, situations we've been through, and we've all had challenges in our life. And we realized, looking back that we all worked through them, right? So there was a time when you had a test due and you're like, man, it's the 12th hour. And I don't know what those answers are on that test, but you studied hard. You put a plan and you got through it. So the Real McCoy Show, each week we're going to have either a different entrepreneur come on the show, and we're going to talk about what makes them the Real McCoy in their business. Well, the Real McCoy today is Brian Phillips in the mortgage business. So we're going to talk about, number one, how you can look for a home and buy it virtually through your mobile device. It could be from your home. It could be on your phone, desktop, or however you want to look for a home. I will still personally show you houses, or I can show them to you virtually. So let's talk through that. Let's unpack that for a minute. So number one, we want you to contact Brian to get pre-qualified, get all finances in order, right? Number two, I'm going to email you a list of your preferred homes in the area that you want to live in, right? So if you realize now you need a 5-bedroom, well, now I will email you the 5 bedrooms instead of 4. So with that list of homes, you narrow it down to the top 5 or top 10. I'm going to go out. I'm going to set up the appointments, walk through the home, take you through it virtually, guys. We've all seen virtual tours. This is not a virtual tour. I'm personally walking you through live on FaceTime, room by room, real interaction. You ask questions. I show you all the rooms, and I address the questions as they come. So we narrow it down, let's say, to the top 2, and now we're down to 2. If you opt to go look at that house, I will still set up the appointment and walk you through. Or you can make the offer on your top home. Now, keep in mind, you've never seen this house. In the TREC agreement, you have a 10-day option period. We write the offer virtually through a DocuSign. You don't have to meet with me. I mean, I love to meet with you, but if you want to do it all virtually, the technology is already in place. So it's almost like we were set up for the situation. and we're just so I've sent you the homes. You narrowed it down through FaceTime. I've now wrote the offer on your behalf. You've signed it through DocuSign. Now the seller has it. The listing agent presents it to the seller using a net sheet. They talk it through. They come back with the accepted offer. At that point, we set up a third-party home inspection. The home inspector, they go on the roof. They go in the attic. They go everywhere in that house. Third party, you're not there. And basically, they send us back a 90-something plus page report. And in that report, it's going to tear that home apart, room by room. Every electrical outlet, every light fixture, the plumbing, they're going to test it all. And let's face it, even a brand new home, there's no perfect home. So once we get the report back, we're going to negotiate. I'm negotiating on behalf of you with the seller or the listing agent, getting those repairs. Either they're going to have them addressed, because guess what? The AC guy, the plumbers, the electrician, they're all still working, guys. These are people who are out in the field in some of the most interesting situations on a daily. Now it's just another angle on doing it, right? So got an email earlier from our top plumber vendor who saved us on numerous flip homes that we've done. He said, hey, we're still open for business. So we negotiate through the repairs. After we get the repair amendment negotiated, now we have a new price on the home. We resend that amendment to Brian and his team. At that point, he's still working on your loan. And now we have the house, we have it inspected, we have the revised price. And now that we have the revised price, we're sending everything to Brian. He's getting it approved. Now we're going to title. At title, they can actually send a notary to your home. One person, not an entourage. One person comes to your house. You sign with that notary, and you just bought a home, guys. Then you hire a third-party mover, because you weren't planning on lifting all that stuff anyway. So you hire the mover comes out, packs your stuff. At that point, you lift a new home. You've never even had to go out and be exposed to all the other elements. Let's face it, in 105 degrees in August, none of us like to go look at 50 houses. So whether this is for COVID-19 or just maybe another way of doing business in the future, it's all here. It's happening now. That's the virtual home buying process. With that being said, I want to turn it over to Brian Phillips, because I know he's just bubbling at the top. He's ready. He's got a lot of items of value. I'm a real estate agent. I've been doing this a long time, but Brian's been in the mortgage business for 19 years. He went through the 9/11 when all the financing world just came to a stop for two to 3 weeks. There was a huge fallout from that. He's been through the economic crash in '08 in the housing market. Now, I want him to bring some items of value over to you guys from the financing perspective. So, Brian, no further ado. I know you've been ready. I've been talking a lot, so it's all yours, my man. Let's roll.
Cool, man. Steven, good job, my friend. I appreciate everything. Your value that you bring to the bottom line is huge. I really feel like most agents out there are not going to put the forefront right now as far as what you're doing. And so I appreciate and I'm honored to be part of this opportunity, truthfully. I think on my side, what I want to kind of drive home today, and I'm going to dress professionally and all the other stuff, but the first thing I'm going to talk about truthfully is the value proposition, kind of the unique value proposition as me as a lender right now is a little bit different than it was 2 weeks ago. The good news for our team is that we're remote. And so we can work remote and be efficient as we can for you and your group. And just like you talked about, as far as your virtual tours and things of that nature, it kind of dives directly into what I want to drive home right now. And that is the market is really a giant free for all right now. And there's no depiction of what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. But what we can do and we can control is our ability still to close loans on time every time. And by doing what we've done on my side is kind of made everybody remote. So there's no backlash with that as far as the group is concerned. And again, I apologize, I'm wearing a hat and everything else, but I'm at home because I just got back from Colorado, and Colorado was a state that got kind of completely shut down. So I'm doing my right by all by making myself what's called social distance and just keeping myself away from what could be a negative in the future. As far as the market's concerned, the Fed's cut. I was talking to a gentleman that I hear a lot, and he was wanting to refinance. And I talked to him on, I think it was Saturday night, and I told him, I said, I really feel that the Feds are going to meet Sunday and talk about, a Fed fund rate cut. And they did. They cut the rates to 0%. And that sounds great to everybody. Everybody thinks that that's part of the mortgage business, but it's not. But what they did do is they added mortgage-backed securities to their investment, and that's what potentially will drop rates. On Monday, we had a free-for-all in our market, and that was great for like a split second. The problem, the challenge that we're seeing right now is that there's nobody investing into the mortgage-backed securities or anything right now. And so right now is a buyer's market, because I feel like the refi business is few and far between, because most sellers are going to kind of sit tight on whether they're going to refinance or they're going to maybe eventually sell. And I like the ability with what you're saying, Steven, in regards to turning around and turn this into a buyer's market, because the market right now, I think it's more going to turn into more of a virtual market. And I think that on our side, we're virtual to begin with. We do everything through DocuSign. We do everything, client-wise through computers and things of that nature. And so my value proposition to you as an agent is on our side, we're not going to skip a beat. The market is what it is right now. I really feel like with what the Feds did was a sharp move. With what Trump and the current people that are operating right now are doing everything they can to do stimulus packages, it's going to help the economy as a whole, which in turn will make rates go up, because when the economy is doing well, rates go up. And that's what we need to happen. We need to level out, and that's kind of what we've seen over the last 48 hours. We literally went from one extreme to the next. We've increased the basis points on the Treasury by 150 basis points overnight. And that's what needs to happen. We need to stimulate the economy to do right by all, and it's going to turn into a buyer's market. And I think really the virtual aspect of everything is what needs to happen right now.
So ultimately, I got text on Sunday from some buyers that I have in the pipeline right now. And ultimately they're saying, they're texting me saying, man, the rates are at 0%. Does that mean mortgage rates are at 0%? And I have to reply back, let me call my lender, Brian, and find out. So that's why you were getting my text on Sunday. So, ultimately, the rates are never going to be at 0%. That's the national index. And the national index is what the rates are based on. And, I remember in 08, 09, when the rates were, the index was at 0%. And by far, that didn't mean the mortgage rates were at 0%. But hey, that's our goal here, is to bring, truth and some, items of value of what is truly going on in the market. Can you speak on the fact that your closings somewhat, well, let me time out for a second, because ultimately maybe the general public may or may not know that what we do in real estate has a lead and a lag time, right? So the pipeline that I've been building on, meaning my calls that I make outbound on a daily basis to obtain a new customer, these calls were done back in November, December. And what is closing today is a result of my efforts of me working through the holiday season. And then consequently, we are good up until, spring selling season. And now here's COVID-19. So we haven't seen the effects of what is going on today until probably 90, 180 days out, and maybe even a year from now, of what's truly happening today. So our closings are going on as scheduled, and we have listings. We have 4 active. We have 13 that hit the market April 1st, and I'm trying to make that 14. So it's not a lucky 13, but at the same time, all these sellers are asking me, should we put our home on the market? I'm saying, guys, we're putting your home on the market. After the showing, simply use some Lysol, wipe down all your light switches, and wipe off your doorknobs. If you feel better, open up some windows and let the home air out. But ultimately, if everyone's doing their own thing and staying at home, if they have any symptoms, and Brian, I respect that, you said you're not feeling so hot and you didn't want to meet with us all. And by the way, Matt is our producer. He's streaming this stuff for us. And Matt is going to segue over and show you our awesome studio that episode number 1 was supposed to come to live. But, we have to all do our part, and I'm working from home. My daughter and wife just stepped out for a few minutes. So, we're all at home. We're having some quality time. This is all new. We did some great workout today in the garage, and my daughter was blown away. She's like, I don't want to do this, Dad. I'm like, push through it. You can do it. So I'm like being a personal trainer 1 minute and then back to real estate another. So this is everybody's doing their part. So back to a seller, you got home sellers with their home on the market. We're still getting showings. Every Monday I pull a report. We had over 22 showings on those 4 listings. So that's about, let's just average out and say 5 a week. Well, guys, we only strive for 2 to 3 showings a week. At 10 showings, we should have an offer. If we don't have an offer, we're looking at price or other conditions of why the home hasn't sold. So this is no different from where we were, 60 days ago, in my opinion. I mean, I only see a small part, and that's my part. But, Brian, in your business, what are you seeing as far as lead time and closings? Everything on time?
That's a great question. Yeah. So, there's one thing to have a designated group or an in-house underwriter, closer, and whatnot. There's nothing to be delegated. And my whole entire group has a delegation with everything. So I have my own underwriting team, closing team, process team. Everybody's in my office. And so being that we kind of forethought this thing and pushed everybody out and put them into their own little, we pulled everybody's laptops and computers and what's what I'm looking for, monitors and whatnot. Everybody's set up perfectly fine at home. So we're fully prepared for this. We have 192 loans closing this month, which is pretty big for us. And it's not even a busy season. So we're fully prepared and we have the support staff to handle it, to do it. I guess kind of my unique value proposition in terms of us as a group right now is the defense on my side is all my support staff, and they're really good, and they've been with me for probably 12 plus years. They haven't left me, so I think that holds value quite a bit in today's market because a lot of people move around. Right now, as far as the rates, if they haven't locked in on a refinance, then it probably lost out, or they're going to have to just lag it and see what happens over the next little bit. But as far as moving forward, I think the challenges that we're going to face on our side are going to be appraisers not going into properties because they've been told not to go into properties, title companies shutting down and, not having the capability of pushing files through. Those are the things that I see in the future that could challenge us. If the government shuts down, we can't verify transcripts with the IRS. Those are things that could potentially happen. But as far as the group right now, we're moving full steam ahead, and we have to play the market. And I think we're pretty sharp. I invest a lot of money into the market and kind of figure out what's going on every day. And I send out emails to my team saying, this is what I think is going to happen for the day. Does it happen that way sometimes? Well, in the last week or so, it has not. I mean, it's been a free for all. You just never know. But long story short, I mean, we have a process on our side, follow-up process. First-time home buyers, we drive on first-time home buyers. We really try to help them understand the educational process behind it all because it's their first, teaching, just like you and I.
Right.
This is their number one investment. So it's not a transaction, it's a relationship. We want that relationship to happen long-term. And so I feel like you and I are aligned in terms of that piece. And so I'm pretty excited to see what right now everybody's freaking out. And I think that you and I have a great opportunity to grow our book through through some turbulent times.
Right. I agree, man. 100%. Well said. Ultimately, our goal is to help people. And so many people that were in this business, let's face it, if you got pulled over 2 weeks ago, they'd say, hey, let me see your real estate license. And you say, what do you mean, my driver's license? No, everybody's a real estate agent. Let me see your real estate license. Come on, hand it over. So with all those people that were in our business to simply make money, I mean, I've been doing this over 15 years. Brian's been doing this over 19 years. Ultimately, do we get paid for our services? Yes, we do. Do we have to supplement our income in times like this with other options? I'm all in on real estate. So I see all these webinars on how to flip different things in different times. Look, I'm 100% invested, and me and my family, my wife is full-time as well. We're 100% real estate agents. That's it. We don't remodel homes. We no longer flip homes on a high capacity. We're all in on helping our customers, and we're putting our customers first. And this virtual buying process is another angle on how to buy a home during this turbulent time. And selling a home is no different. A lot of our homes are vacant. We feel a vacant home is the best way to sell your home. That's a myth buster from a lot of people that like staged homes or occupied homes. Once again, this is my perspectives. And by the way, this is the Real McCoy show. So it's actually my show. I created this show to bring on other entrepreneurs, and we're going to say, hey, Brian, what makes you the top 10 reasons why you're the Real McCoy? But now the COVID-19, we're shooting this from home. As you can hear birds chirping in the background, I'm in an echoey, vacant spare bedroom office in my house instead of my this studio that we preserved for this moment. And, man, we've been planning this for months, and, we're just shifting gears here. And by the way, I did want to touch on three things. My degree is actually in occupational safety and health. Right out of college is when 9/11 happened. And for me, I went right into sales and transitioned into real estate. So as a occupational safety, associate degree held person, I'm just going to say, look, for me and my family, what we're doing differently is, if we don't have to go somewhere, we're not. We're washing our hands. We always washed our hands. We're pretty fanatical about that. We never wore shoes in our house. My wife's from Russia, and she broke me of that many years ago. She'd say, take your shoes off. Like, it's an apartment. Who cares? And she's like, no, take your shoes off. So we've always been about, hygiene and keeping ourselves clean and our homes clean and things like that. So me and my family just ultimately, we didn't go out and buy bulks of stuff. We have the essentials. And, if everybody would buy just the essentials, we wouldn't have these, shortages of stuff. So, my prayer is that everyone looks to God during this time, and that, all the glory goes to Him, and that ultimately people will be led to a higher calling, and that's not themselves. So that's my 2 cents, and keeping your family safe. Just obviously keep your distance from people that you don't have to be around, and try to know. This whole thing about crowds is to know what the other people have been exposed to, and so you limit your exposure. So washing your hands, that's all. That's pretty much what I got as a safety guy. So Brian, how about you and your family? What are you guys doing maybe a little differently this week?
So it's a great question, man. I'm going to add also to what the difference between 2008 versus right now, because I think it's important to fully understand what's going on. For me right now, the great news is that our HR department asked who had been traveling to Colorado and things of that nature, and I'm not a liar, so I told them, I came to Colorado, took the family to Breckenridge 2 weeks ago. Obviously, if anybody knows what happened in Breckenridge and Vail and Colorado, basically shut down. So we're taking this seriously, where we don't want to spread anything to anybody, whether we have it or not. We don't know, but we're keeping everybody quarantined in the house for the next 2 weeks, maybe 3, just to be safe, and just let it ride out. I think it's the common cold, but I really feel like it's a pandemic, and it's not a social or a political thing. I think at this point it's a global issue, and I'm not a political person at all when it comes to stuff like that. And I'm just I feel like for everybody right now, just like you said, just err on the side of caution right now, and let's try to get the market back to being flat. The difference between 2008 and today is 2008 was a mortgage market crash, and it kind of crumbled the market. Here, it's more of an economic issue. So market-wise, I feel like we can sustain this, and just to see this, the simple things that Trump has done with the stimulus package today, talking about giving people, I mean, God's willing, he gives a major stimulus package to small businesses, and I think that's the next play, and I think that's the right play. But as far as the market is concerned, it's not a mortgage issue at this point. And so we're good. If the market continues to go down a path where people don't have jobs and things of that nature, then most people will be afraid to make the move. But I think right now we got to shift our mindset into a buyer's market.
Awesome.
And I think you have a right play with that, and especially sellers wanting to sell their house and do virtual things of that nature. You're doing the right play.
Well, guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in. You know, we pray that everybody will, make it through this safely, and look to the higher purpose, like I just mentioned. Brian, I'm very grateful for you to be on the show today, and I hope you get feeling better. And Matt, our producer, we're all doing this remotely, and Matt, I hope you and your family stay safe as well. Guys, tune in every week. This is our new podcast. Episode number 2 is going to be next Friday, live at noon. So tune in. We'll see you then. Peace out.
Thanks for watching today's episode. Check out the links in the description to get more detail on our guest today and all things North Texas real estate.